Stamp duty.
Yes.
Okay, so again, another area where first home buyers in particular, and first home buyers aren't always 24. Okay, there's a lot of first home buyers that we deal with that come in from overseas or from New Zealand or wherever, and they're in their 40s. We're dealing with a British couple, lovely couple in their 50s at the moment. Okay, so this is not just like a young person's problem. This is anybody who's buying their first home in Australia, can consider the first homeowners grant. Okay, which is the $10,000 for a new home or a newly built home.
Correct. So house and land packages, newly built or never been lived in.
Never been lived in. Good. Just to be specific. Okay. So it can be a property that's been built. Okay, that is new, that hasn't been lived in.
So something like display homes and things can sometimes apply.
Yep. Okay.
Very case by case basis.
What about the thresholds for the stamp duty?
So for established properties, up to 430, no stamp duty. You'll have a concessional rate from 400. There'll be a concessional rate from 430 to 530.
Okay.
And then for your land, it's up to
530. Is it?
Yeah, so it's a concessional. Okay. Yeah, so it's concessional up to once you start getting up to those amounts, you're not really saving much.
You can't in with everybody else.
Correct. You're saving the difference of a couple $100. And then with your vacant land, you get a concession up to 300,000, and also up to. No, that's wrong. You'll get a no stamp duty up to 300,000, and then a concessional rate up to 400,000, and then you need to have a building contract in place when you do vacant land. It does need to be under a certain threshold. Yes.
Is that right? Okay, cool. I'm going to go back and get Hannah to say that again, because this is where people get snagged. Okay, again, speak to the pro before you do anything. So if someone is quite autonomous in the way they want to do things, or I don't know, they're interested and they want to get out and do it themselves and not go through a building rep and a builder and buy what's advertised online. They'd like to choose a block of land, then they want to choose a builder.
Correct.
Okay,
we see this quite often. A lot of people do that.
Yeah, we see this quite often. Yeah, and that I would recommend it. So, tell us how that process would work if the purchaser wanted to minimise the amount of tax they are going to pay.
Yeah. So essentially, your land needs to be under 300,000 to have the no stamp duty as a first home buyer.
Yeah.
And then you need a building contract to supplement that. If you don't have
at the time.
Yes.
Okay.
So you need to have the building contract signed before settlement to receive those concessions. You can, however, settle on the land, paying the duty at the full rate, what we call the general rate, and you can sign your building contract after settlement if you wanted to then apply for a refund. It does need to be within 12 months of your land settlement.
Okay, so you can push ahead, providing you've got the money to pay the duty, stamp duty.
Correct.
On the assumption that you can apply to get the refunded stamp duty, but you are going to go for a while without that, few grand or whatever it is.
Correct, that's exactly right, and that works as well for non-first home buyers. So you can actually apply for a difference in a general and residential rate of duty.
Yeah.
If you're buying vacant land and you want to sign a building contract after, you won't get your grant funds obviously, but we can apply for the difference in the general rate and the residential rate of duty. Okay,
got you. And then at what point does the 10 grand first home owners grant come through the FHOG?
So it depends on whether you're going for a builder or owner builder, those kind of things. But I believe it's once your slab's down.
Okay, cool. So it comes through with some sort of relief. Would you recommend that to people that they have that money available before they go ahead with the purchase and not rely on it?
Yeah, especially if they're not doing a house and land together package where they sign both contracts at the same time. If you are doing a land contract and you're engaging a builder after, I would always recommend trying to have those surplus funds available, just in case you don't get the builder or you don't get the contract signed in time, especially in these kind of busy periods where a lot of people are building because of the grants that are available at the moment. The builders aren't available to get contracts finalised, and you need to have a specific contract in place to get the concession.
Got you.
Which is basically your formal, fully signed building contract that has a schedule of particulars. So it basically states what's payable at what point.
Right.
So if you you have basically a quote or a sort of indicative cost contract, that doesn't apply.
No. Contract. It's going to be fixed price. It needs
to be a formal contract of what's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay. So there's no grey area on that. And builders are they're busy. Builders are busy, and they don't make money out of organising the 10 grand first home owners grant. They make money out of pumping out new homes.
Correct.
Right. So it's quite a way down the list for them.
Correct.
I always err on the side of caution when I'm speaking to people who are building their own home and say, guys, it's probably worth your while having that cash available just in case you need it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to go into a large purchase without a spare 10 grand.
Correct.
I don't think so. Anyway.
No, I would agree with you.
And I'm not trying to be rich in that comment. I'm just saying, look, well, the worst thing you can do is to begin leaning on credit cards.
Correct. Having more money is better than having less money, and if you don't need it for the purchase, you've got extra money for your pre-start.
Exactly. Keep the stress levels down, save a bit extra, take a bit more time. There isn't a rush. There's not a huge rush. That's good info. Anything else we should know in the stamp duty taxes space? Where do people get caught out?
It's mainly just your sort of first-time buyers with that threshold being 430. We do see a lot of people purchasing property that's over 430 because the median house price here is a lot higher.
Yeah.
And essentially thinking that they are, because they're a first-home buyer, that they still get a no-duty transaction.
Yeah.
It's just not the case, and that just comes down to education. Normally a broker, settlement agent, things like that can give you that costing just over the phone of what you're looking at, what to expect and what to keep up with.
And again, don't get led down that garden path with the online research.
Yeah.
Give your broker a call, give me a call, give Hannah a call. They'll be able to advise you on what the stamp duty would be for that particular purchase. But because by the time you're getting up to 480,000, there's a lump there. It's a 7 or 7 odd, 8 grand. Whatever the case may be, off the top of my head. Land tax.
Yes.
What the hell's land tax?
So land tax is on vacant land that you purchase over 300,000. Can be adjustable if it's payable.
Yep.
Most development contracts you'll see, so when you buy a house and land package, some of the developers will word it in that the land tax is adjustable.
Yep.
So you pay a bit of money. So it's not astronomical. We're probably talking $200 worst case in sort of the under 200,000 sort of blocks of land.
Got you.
It's mainly applicable to people who own property, so sellers. So it's usually a tax that sellers pay essentially when they own multiple properties. So there are thresholds and certain different things for that. It's not always applicable in buy situations, more so just in those house and land package kind of big developers that sometimes will.
Is it an annual tax?
It is, yes, every financial year, and it's accumulated on the properties that you own. Got you.
So if you're a big daddy landlord and you have 16 properties and you have undeveloped land, is that what it's?
I think you would pay it on houses as well.
Do you really?
Yeah, so I think it works on, it's 300,000 and I think it's on the land value of the properties.
Okay.
So they can have a house on them, but if it's not your principal place of residence, so say you went...
You're still paying a land tax component?
Yeah.
Okay, and that comes through every year? Is that...
We've got a client actually who we did in 2014 he's owned the same properties the whole time. We did 2 settlements for him and he's just got a tax bill this year, and I think that's because of the hike in his area that it's pushed him over the threshold.
Got you. Okay. So this is another area that if you have any, if you're building a portfolio, by the time you get to 2, 3, 4, I mean, we're dealing with a gentleman now, a family couple, who own I think 5 or 6 properties, if you include one of their homes up in Lancelin, and these are the extra costs that, as an investor, you really need to be cognizant of, because it does begin to add up.
Most definitely.
It's an extra holding cost, isn't
Most
it?
definitely.
Okay. Good to cover off that. Again, speak to the pro. All right. So what do you recommend to people to educate themselves before they purchase their not their first property, but before they purchase a property?
Yeah, definitely. Just to speak with their mortgage broker and their settlement agent.
Okay.
Get that little power team together.
Up front.
Up front.
Choose your team. Righto. Okay. And avoid the internet. Avoid doodling around in the internet. Two final questions. The first one is quirky state rules. So all the states are different, aren't they? Queensland, Victoria, New South Wales, WA, Northern Territory, South Australia. I think that's all the states. Tasmania. Is Tasmania a state?
Gosh, I'm not sure on that one. Don't know. Tasmanians.
Where is that place? We've heard good things about it. Just so people who are watching this are aware, the rules for purchasing a property, the contract rules, they're different here than they are in Queensland.
Definitely.
Stamp duty thresholds are different.
Much different, very different.
Okay. Again, speak to the pro.
Definitely.
Final question is what would you recommend to a property purchaser to do before they purchase the property? First thing, so everyone's out looking at pretty pictures, doing the home opens. give us one final piece of wisdom.
Take your time. Don't stress. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
That's good advice. That's really good advice, actually. Excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Han. Great job, mate.
Thank you.
Are you going to charge me for this? No?
What am I charge you for?
She's so sweet. Thanks, Han. Appreciate it, mate.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks so
for your
much.
time. Beauty.
Thank you.